Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. My name is Louis Mendez. Hope you guys are all well on your Sunday morning. On today's show, then, we'll be looking back at yesterday's 2-2 draw with Lincoln City at the Valley. The Addicts battling back from 2 goals down after a really disappointing start to the game. Possibly brought an end to our top 2 hopes. I think probably has brought an end to our top 2 hopes, but yeah, a good point in the end. Let's know your thoughts on it. Joining me to look back at that game currently is Nathan Miller. How you doing, Nath?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Living the dream. Had a bit of a late night at my nan's 80th. Got the boogie on, as you do. But no, yeah, good day all end yesterday. Shame about the first 60 minutes of the game, as you say. But obviously the upbeat walk was great as usual, and the sun was shining. Just disappointed we didn't get the 3 points, mate.
Yeah, lovely stuff. We're also going to be joined by Ben Cloak, so hopefully sooner rather than later. He's just restarting his computer, but he'll be joining us shortly. So on today's show, then, we'll look back at the game with the Imps. We will hear the goals. We're going to hear a very short interview with the Addicts boss, Nathan Jones. He wasn't really in the mood for talking after yesterday's game. We're going to hear from the Addicts skipper as well, the man who got the second goal for the home side yesterday, Greg Docherty, as well. I want to hear from you guys. Morning to everyone who's joining us in the chat. Charlie was in there first, and it's going to be interesting to hear the views. From 2 down, it's a good point, but the top 2 hopes are over, though it was a long shot. Anyway, Aaron's in there. Robert, Jeremy, all hell let loose is in there. Alan, Mike Salmon joins us. Spamfish, Docherty joins us as well, who I met yesterday. Let us know your thoughts on yesterday's game. Where did it go wrong in that first hour or so? What did you make of what Nathan Jones had to say? We'll hear the quotes later, but if you've seen them already, what did you make of his? He sort of put his hands up, said that there was some passive decision making this week. So it'd be interesting to see what you make of that as well. So email us studio@charltonlive.co.uk. You can tweet us at Charlton Live or just stick your comment in the live section of the YouTube chat there. Let us know your thoughts. Nath, I think top 2 is probably gone now. I think there was a scenario where we could draw 1 game, but then you'd need Wrexham to drop other points, and then now you've got to throw into the mix that also Stockport have gone above us now, so now you've got to take them into account. I think that's that. Okay, that's fine. It was a long shot. The fact we're talking about it at all shows how well we've done. Even the form recently, last five games, we've taken 10 points, which is title winning form if you go 2 points a game all season. So it's just one of those things. It's happened now. It's the start of the season that's knackered that, but we're in a very good position. What will you take from yesterday's game in terms of any concerns going for the rest of the season? Obviously, no Tyrese Campbell, no Lloyd Jones yesterday, and a couple of things weren't quite as good as they have been until that last half an hour where we showed some real fighting spirit.
Yeah, exactly that, mate. I think all in all, considering the first hour, where I think when the team sheet came out, you knew it was going to be quite a bitty game. It's going to be, not a lot of pace on our side, which we knew that was going to be the case when TC wasn't there. So it's how we adapted. We didn't adapt well at all for the first hour. Obviously Koroy came in, and for me, I probably would have maybe put Gilbert in there just for something with a little bit more ingenuity in the final third. And you can't fault Koroy's attributes that he has, and I get it. And I think that was sort of plain to see from my point of view, and with obviously the halftime substitution. So, but we know we had Kaheem on the bench who came on, who could try and stretch him, but he's still learning his trade, still settling in and stuff. So, yeah, it was a difficult first hour, but as you say, you can't fault the grit and determination. And for many years, we said, before we went live, it's been many years ago when, we go 2-0 down. Previous years, I'm like, well, that's game over. We didn't even get a point, let alone 3. And, the last half hour, we huffed and puffed and some good saves by the goalie, but ultimately we fell short. And I think that's the concerns for the rest of the year is how key, which Lloyd is, which we've already said, you can tell he's run, when he came back, was start of our run of form. But our lack of pace in those forward areas where TC isn't about, not saying Matty Godden's a slouch by any stretch, but that raw pace, you do notice it. We couldn't go behind, and I think we sort of couldn't get to grips with the first 55 minutes, which was disappointing. And obviously listening to the interviews with Nathan and Greg Docherty and stuff, they sort of knew that was a bit of an opportunity missed for me, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm not focusing on second, just next game as always, and just try and get that home game on the second leg. That's what I'm aiming for now.
Lovely stuff. Right, Ben has joined us. We will hear from him after we hear the goals from yesterday's game. Brownie was alongside Terry and Greg.
In the 6-yard box as the corner comes in. So flicked header, and it's there. Lincoln take the lead. And it's Collins with the goal. Swift. Sharp corner into the near post. Collins the first to react, got the flick on. Beyond Mannion, he could do nothing about it.
No, it's a wicked delivery from Ring, from the left-hand side, right footer in swinging towards near post, and you only need to get a slight touch to guide it towards the far, and if you can get across your man and get that slight touch and add pace onto the ball, it's almost impossible to defend.
Ball down the line looking for House, chests it down to Collins. Collins cuts inside McIntyre, and Collins going in on goal. Collins, can he finish? He can, and Lincoln City have their second, and it's James Collins again with a wonderful finish. The touch beyond McIntyre and the finish beyond Mannion, and Charlton will have to come from 2-0 behind.
Yeah, look, you can't go into a challenge if you're going to come out the centre of the pitch as a centre half. You've got to take everything, man, ball, the lot, take a booking if you have to. You can't just let the ball bobble past you and their centre forward running behind. There's no way our right-sided centre half can cover across from that position. So you've got to kind of understand the state of the game, and you just cannot let someone pop it past you like that. Take him down, take the booking.
And in left-footed, doesn't beat the first winner. It does, it comes towards Anike, tuns down. Gillespie with a chance, and Charlton have a goal back in this game. The corner wasn't dealt with at the near post. Anike got something to it, and Gillespie with a calm, composed finish. And Charlton are back in this.
Well, that makes it very interesting. I was just about to say, if the Anike shot goes in, we've got a game on. Well, we've got a game on now. Atmosphere changes. Lincoln won't be so sure of themselves. We've taken a risk and made changes, and we're very much more an attacking side. We've gone into a flat back four, front two, Dixon on the left, Small on the right. Can we find a way to get an equaliser?
Dixon comes short, but Edwards will send this into the penalty area. I think he gets something on it. It drops to Docherty! Oh, the skipper has got the equaliser out of almost nothing. The throw-in came in, it was headed clear. Docherty the first to react on the volley, and it's squeezed into the near post, and Charlton are back level.
That's a great volley. And you're right, Tel, that's absolutely out of nothing. It's a long throw that gets defended first, but it pops back out into an area. Subs are being sat back down again. That's a killer. I've been there before. Taking mid top off, ready to come on, but they're sat back down, and that's a wonderful volley from Docherty. One of your jobs when you're a midfielder is just to pick up the right pockets of space for knockdowns. He was in a great little pocket. It's a great read, and it's a superb volley that's got us back level.
There you go. That's the goals from Charlton TV. Great to say that Ben is with us now. Ben, just heard the goals from yesterday. Just give us your overall thoughts on the performance. Nathan's reaction after was obviously quite interesting. But yeah, where do you think it went wrong? Why did we have that mountain to climb in that last half an hour?
Obviously missing two key players, I think, is a massive knockback. But we just didn't have our usual shape, did we? I mean, it just didn't work with Anderson starting wherever he was starting. I mean, I don't know what agile position he was playing yesterday. 1 minute he was out on the left, then we tried him in the right, then we tried him in the 10. I felt sorry for him because the last game he started was that Exeter game, and we all said what a great game he played. And it's just trying to shoehorn in really yesterday to a position that just doesn't suit him. So, I mean, look, I haven't properly listened to Nathan's interview fully through, but obviously he got that one wrong yesterday. And we've said before, if we do get injuries, we do lack strength and depth, especially with someone like Khan, who would have been perfect yesterday. I think he presses really high and really well and can take the ball at defenders with a bit of pace. But yeah, I think that was the key. The ball just wasn't sticking for us yesterday up front. I mean, we had a chance in the first half of Edwards' shot, I think, before they scored. And you thought, okay, yeah, let's have a few more of them. But Yeah, I think we were playing our usual game of playing it up there, pressing them high. But even when we did that, we didn't then keep on to the ball. I mean, we were relying on Thierry just down one side. I think it was becoming quite predictable, and they put a few men on him, and he was getting some joy, but it was getting too hard for him. So I think, yeah, just we weren't at our usual selves because we have threats from all areas. And when we lost that threat on the left, it was all coming down the right. And then, as you said, the chances they were getting when Lloyd's usually there and he can be a real physical presence, that wasn't there either. So, yeah, it was a shame. I think I was very frustrated at the end, but ultimately, as Nath just said earlier, we came back and we made it 2-2. And when they went 2-0 up, I could not see that, to be fair. So, fair play. It was great resilience. And I don't know if we'll talk about the ref a bit, but how on earth was that 5 minutes on at the end? I mean, I think we could have maybe nicked something, but he literally made that game all about himself. Every corner, every free kick, having to talk to everyone. It just really dragged the game out. I felt spells where we were getting a little bit of momentum, and obviously they were time wasting a bit, but then he just did not help matters at all. He just wanted to talk to everyone and then only gave 5 minutes. But yeah, now please we battled back though.
Yeah, and he only played 4 minutes 59 of the 5 when there was a stoppage in the fight. I mean, that is clutching at straws, though. Of course, the performance overall, Nath. I mean, I was very concerned when I saw that Tyrese Campbell wasn't in that side because I think we've said consistently that between him and maybe Thierry Small that they're really the only two that offer some sort of ability to drive forward with the ball in the side, I think, on the whole. So as soon as we lost that, you think, right, what's going to happen up top? And as we said, Karoy came into the team. I mean, you could argue it was a 4-2-3-1 at stages, and he was sort of playing on the left of the three behind Godden. Generally at kickoff, I couldn't tell if he was starting up front, because he was forward. But I think it was more of a 4-2-3-1. But we missed Tyrese Campbell yesterday. I'll certainly put it that way. Oh, Nathan's something's gone wrong with Nathan's kit there. So Ben, I'll ask you. I mean, how big a miss was Tyrese Campbell for us yesterday, Ben? And that will be the concern that now that injuries are starting to play a part.
Yeah, I thought it was just a massive miss, especially coming into the game. He was probably in the best form of his career for us, and he just drives at them, offers threats, draws men away. I remember saying last week on the show there was when he set up Docherty for the goal, he had 4 men on him on the side of the box, and so he just drags players out of position. Berry gets more of a chance of playing. You have Thierry obviously offering threats, and he was a massive threat yesterday for us, Thierry. I mean, there were sometimes you think, how's he come out with the ball? But yeah, just as you said, he offers that energy. He's got bags of confidence at the moment, scores some great goals. So yeah, we just lacked that spark yesterday. And I think as much as you can go, okay, we're not a one-man team. We don't rely on him all the time. We played well without him. The rest of the team probably look at him and buzz off him at the moment with that confidence, and defenders worried about his threats. And you just think, okay, yeah, you can understand why the team was a bit flat yesterday, and especially we don't have a like-for-like replacement for him, and that was an issue yesterday. And look, hopefully we can give him a week's rest and get him ready for that Cambridge game.
No, Nathan's back now. He's learned how to use a computer, he's upskilled, which is good. Yeah, Nathan, the goals that we conceded yesterday as well very much haven't been the sort of goals we've been conceding. I mean, the second one we'll come on to in a minute. But even the first one, Berry, I just watched it back, and Collins and Berry both started on the far side. And it was a really smart run by Collins to go around a couple of players to block Berry's defensive run off as he came across. But, allowing someone to lose you when you're their marker like that is not something we've seen too often this season. And Nathan would have been very frustrated with that.
Yeah, as you say, we've obviously dealt with quite a lot of set plays very, very well. And, naturally people would say, if Lloyd was playing, it wouldn't have happened. But I don't know, because I don't think Lloyd would have been tracking Collins there. And as you say, it was clever from them, to be fair. Great. Similar to, I think it was Exeter away, something similar when Tristan Kramer scored, wasn't it? I think, which is disappointing. But yeah, you've got blocked off. It was a great set play from them, in all fairness. But It was just a bit. Yeah, usually we've felt pretty comfortable dealing with set plays, and yesterday when the first one went in, and he's a good player, that Collins. So great from them, but poor from us. And luckily, I haven't got to talk about the second one because I don't know if I'll be able to not swear. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, hopefully your computer will break down again. Just if I bring it up with you, but the second goal, Ben. You'll see they've got beyond Macca, but I don't think that there was much more he would have done there. But I mean, McIntyre when he comes out, for all these plaudits he got during the week, he steps out and completely misses his challenge. And again, it's a wonderful finish from Collins, but he should never have been in that position. And Tom McIntyre got hooked quite soon after, which I think summed up how Nathan Jones might have felt about that goal as well.
Oh yeah, it's funny the highlights I watched. They panned to Jones and he was like smashing his head with his hands. Yeah, it was such a hard goal to concede because at half time I was having a chat to fans on the concourse and that, thinking, do you know what? We're not too bad. Like I think if we come out in this second half, we had Chooks coming on. We saw some promise that we might turn the game around, and then that early blow in the second half, you're thinking, I just can't see us coming back now. But yeah, as Nate said, it's quite hard to talk about the goal and not get too angry. But yeah, that's where you miss Lloyd, isn't it? I mean, Lloyd wouldn't get beaten like that, I don't think. And as you said, it's difficult because McIntyre played well in the week and he got a lot of plaudits from that. And I think the BBC London guy said he was his man of the match, and rightly so. I think especially when you're coming into a side that prides itself on its clean sheets and you're replacing probably one of our best players, there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders. But to run out, it's like he took a swipe at the ball. He's like, I'll get this. And yeah, Collins is such an experienced striker. Obviously, Jones knows him well. I think he managed him at Luton. And he took the goal really well. I think if you're a Lincoln fan, you go, oh, what a great solo effort that is. And the way he guides it into the corner of the goal. But I mean, Macca and McIntyre, I mean, just abysmal defending, really, to just get caught out on the left and then just totally get beaten so easily for the goal. It's just, criminal, really. But I wouldn't have taken him off for Mitchell. I think that, as I mentioned in our group chat, I thought that was a dreadful substitution from Jones yesterday. I get he was angry about the goal, but when we brought on Mitchell, there was a boy devoid of so much confidence yesterday. Every time he got given the ball, I think he gave it away. And even when Mannion gave him the ball from a goal kick near the end, he went, oh no, you have it back. And it was like, oh my gosh, he just, he was a shadow of his former self from earlier in the season. I know he's not played much since then, and it showed. But I do like Mitchell, but I know he's not great with his feet, but he's good in the air and stuff, and he just looked so out of it yesterday. So I think that was a bit of a poor sub to take McIntyre off. But yeah, for the goal, it was poor. It was something we've not seen much this season, so you can't get on their backs too much. But yeah, and then left off with a big mountain to climb, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. But when we did start scaling it, we got one back relatively soon after, to be fair. Macaulay Gillespie, I should say, of course. With the goal, he's fifth of the campaign. Right place, right time. He's turning into the sniffer dog himself, isn't he? We got a pair of sniffer hounds there.
Yeah, we have, to be fair to him. When he stepped up for that free kick, I did think, oh no, not again. Surely not. He's going to do a massive whip here. But yeah, do you know what? Right place, right time for Macca, and that's all you need. It doesn't matter who scores. And yeah, he's obviously come on leaps and bounds from earlier in the season. We always hark back to that pre-season friendly when it literally felt like Nathan was just shouting at Macca and no one else. Poor geezer. And well, to be fair, it looks like that shouting's done him a world of good eventually. So, but yeah, no, happy for Macca because he's been really, really consistent. But yeah, it was a little start of a little rally, and we had 17 shots. It's not like it's the least we deserved in theory, considering we were poor for 60 minutes. Madness, really, which shows how mad this league is. But happy for Macca, and it gave us that little bit of impetus in front of the covered end, which obviously proved to be very fruitful.
Yeah, and that was one thing that did give me some hope yesterday, because like I say, if we don't know how long these players are going to be out for. It didn't sound too bad with Tyrese. I mean, Nathan just referred to it as cramp in his interview with the club, but if we are going to be lacking some numbers going into playoffs, then at least we showed some battle yesterday, some fight, which we have seen a lot of over the last few months. But yeah, that was promising, and obviously the goal from Docherty. Good finish from the edge of the box. I think it took a little touch on its way through, but very, very nice little finish and got us back in there. And then we did have chances to nick it, Ben. You know, I think the save from Wickens from the Godden header was a really good save. And Matty couldn't believe that didn't go in.
Oh, honestly, mate, I was right behind that and I just fell to my knees. I just could see that going in. It was such a great header, great ball from Coventry. And as much as that keeper annoyed everyone with his time wasting, that was a cracking save from him. Oh, I'm still thinking about it now, thinking if that went in. But yeah, you're right. I just showed the battling qualities. I thought he was superb yesterday. I mean, he's missing his strike partner, but he did not stop running and hassling their players. I didn't know if he was going to come off at one point because Sora had me warming up. And I thought, no, you just can't take Godden off because, as you said earlier, with his nickname, the Sniffer Dog, he's in and around it all the time. And he didn't have many opportunities yesterday, but when he got that chance, he took it so well. And the keeper just pulled off a great save. So, yeah, I think even though we had our threats missing, I think Edwards was getting into the game more. I thought his deliveries were a bit poor yesterday, but he was getting down the side more and proving a threat. And as you said, for the goal, his long throw causes problems. I mean, with that sun yesterday, I know a lot of people were on Aniki's back, but it was a bit silly. We just kept playing long up in the air to Aniki. He likes it at his chest. We're trying to play it in the air. He cannot see because of the sun. So he's trying to jump. We're trying to get scrappy balls in and around it. And you'll just think with that throw, that was probably a good idea because they're all trying to jump, heading it away. And obviously it comes clear, but great finish from Docherty. I mean, that's 2 home games for him now. He's stepping up. I thought he had a good game yesterday. Great finish for a body of players. Maybe the keeper could have done a little bit better, but when you shoot like that, you hope for any kind of deflection in the box. So, yeah, really pleased for him. And I thought Dixon was growing into the game a bit. I know, as we've been saying, I know we're calling for him to play because he's doing well in the under-21s, but I think goes to show it's sometimes you might have that skill and flair on the ball, but it's doing the dirty work as well of pressing, being in the right position, creating space for yourself. But yeah, fair play to Jones. I think he gambled yesterday by chucking him on and then chucking Chooks on early and then trying to get another couple of players into the game. But yeah, as Nate said, we had 17 shots. So there was fight back, and that does give us hope for the rest of the season.
See, funnily enough, I think I'm the opposite on Dixon yesterday. I think the displays we've seen from him in the last couple of weeks, and this is no slight on him whatsoever, but I just think it showed he's not really ready yet. I don't think he impacted the game yesterday. That's why I personally haven't been calling for him to start games. And yeah, I mean it's interesting that maybe we saw it slightly differently there, but I just didn't see him offer what I think he will offer when he's had a bit more time with us and a bit more growing and bulking up as all hell let loose says there. He needs a bit of that as well. I think when he's ready, I think he will be an option like that, but he's not ready yet, and that's fine. That is part of the process, but I don't think he's ready yet. That's why you're not getting me calling for him to start many games. Maybe I guess the difference is, Nathan, when we have no TC and we need something that could be a potential threat, then maybe that's why the gamble is taken. But I don't think he's anywhere near fully ready yet, and that's I didn't come out yesterday thinking, oh, brilliant, like no TC, but Dixon's ready to do the same job, because I don't think he did.
No, I agree, and I think it was that Leyton Orient game, wasn't it, where I think positionally and game intelligence, which will come to him naturally. Like, he's obviously a good player, but he needs time to settle into England and learn, learn the way, because he's had a way of, playing football just like TC had, and it's taken TC all this time to sort of get into the swing of it. But I mean, I agree. When you're missing TC, that first half, you could tell we lacked any dynamism or any pace whatsoever in that final third. We weren't going to stretch them unless you had Thierry small high, which we tried doing every now and again. But then, as Benji said, it was doubled up on, and then our threats are nullified. So I can understand it in a sense where you might go, well, he's the only person with any real pace, raw pace on the bench, and you want to try and stretch them, try and force them back. then camping thereafter, and then you can play around the box, which we did and got some set plays from. But yeah, I agree. He's not the finished article, and I don't think we've brought him in to come into the squad straight away. It's more of a project. I know that word's used a lot, but yeah, I'm the same really. But if TC is out, I do think we have to have him on the bench just for that pace element, because otherwise we become very one-dimensional, in my opinion, with the changes we had to make yesterday, like Gas and Chooks. They're not going to go in behind, are they, really? So, yeah, that's what I sort of agree with you as well on that point.
Yeah, I mean, Gas wasn't on for long yesterday, but, yeah. Right, let's... I want to bring in the Nathan Jones interview a little bit earlier than I normally would, but actually a couple of people have just spoke on Dixon. So I think it's fair to give it, like James said, they did barely give Dixon the ball. He hardly received it to feet. Shiny Hill said, I thought he got better as the game went on. I think once he gets a couple of decent sub appearances, his confidence will increase and he'll start taking on players like in the 21s. Yeah, James saying that there were times when Edwards chose to cross to pass instead of passing to Dixon. Dixon looked like he didn't know where to be. And again, I think that's the thing that stood out for me. It's a positional sense will be something that grows with him. Like, Dixon's become like quite a big talking point this season for someone who's hardly played. It was similar to Terry Taylor at times earlier in the season, but I think that's because we know there seems to be some excitement around him, and I think that will grow, and I think that will be really good in the future. But it's just not. At some point, it will click. It's just not quite there at that point. But also, you don't get that without playing games, so it's a bit of a catch-22. But anyway, right? Let's hear from the Addict Boss, Nathan Jones, extremely briefly. So someone just tweeted me saying I got my head bitten off. I didn't see it like that at all yesterday. It was just Nathan didn't really fancy chatting. Or you guys listened to it, and I didn't come out of that thinking attacked or anything like that. I think it was just more Nathan was in a bad mood after yesterday's game and didn't really want to have a talk. But this is what he had to say to me after the 2-2 draw with Lincoln City. Nathan, a 2-2 draw with Lincoln today. What are your thoughts after the game?
That's a good point in the end.
You had to battle back from 2-0 down and showed a lot of spirit today.
Yeah, the last 30 minutes, absolutely no question. Before that, mile off where we are.
What do you think that was? Obviously, a lot of personnel missing. Did that play a part in it?
I take responsibility. Last 2 or 3 days, we've been passive in so many decisions we've made, and I won't make that mistake again.
You can sort of give us some more information
about
that?
Just that's an in-house thing. And I've been passive in some of the decisions. I've been safe in some of the decisions. I won't do that again.
Okay. I mean, how big a miss was Tyrese Campbell today, do you think, particularly in that first half?
Well, it looks bigger because we play a certain way and he gives us certain things, but he wasn't available today for whatever reason. So we had to try and find a way, and we didn't for 60 minutes. We didn't. We were passive. We were nowhere near a team that we normally are. But the last 30 minutes we were, and I said we should have won the game in the end. Yeah, I
mean, in terms of being passive in that opening stage, are you looking at your team selection and just looking
at
how
they've been?
Yeah,
I'm looking at everything. Every decision I've made since Tuesday night has been passive.
I mean, the man of the goals, not stuff we've been used to seeing from your side today. The ones you conceded.
That might have crept into the performance, the passivity of everything. How we prepared, how we did everything was, for me, was a mile off. And I won't make that mistake again.
But yeah, I mean, great credit has to go to the side for the way they've battled back. It's another game unbeaten here and still well within the playoff places.
Yeah, absolutely. The last 30 minutes, no problem. Gave me everything. Game changers came on, made a change. We made a positive change. Positive changes, and as I said, the keepers made 2 or 3 good saves. They've had four shots in the whole game. We've dominated possession, dominated chances, and we've allowed them to score goals. I mean, the second goal is as bad a goal as we've ever given away.
Yeah. And then how do you see that sort of in the picture of the race for the top 2 now? It makes it a lot more difficult with Wrexham winning earlier again today. Is it just about trying to keep going now and maybe secure a top 4 place?
We've just got to keep going, game in, game out. That's all we've got to do.
PSF Steel Limited is a trade supplier of steel fabrication and erection services to the new build, construction and refurbishment market in southern England. With their unrivaled depth of experience, they excel at providing their customers with high quality and cost-effective steel fabrication solutions. Their customers include national and regional house builders, such as Barratt Homes, Bellway Homes, the Vistry Group and Taylor Wimpey. They pride themselves on their service-based ethos and commitment to customer service excellence, which includes full technical backup and on-site services and support. If you would like more information, go to www.psfsteel.co.uk. That's www.psfsteel.co.uk.
Hello fellow addicts, I'm so excited to tell you all about our micropub, the River Ale House. The River Ale House is based in East Greenwich. It has 6 Pub of the Year awards, an ever-changing selection of amazing beer. It's owned by Charlton fans, walkable to the ground in just 20 minutes with buses that go direct to the Valley too. If your matchday routine includes a drink with your friends, you must join your fellow addicts in the River. See you soon.
Right, welcome back to Charlton Live. Just for the break there, we heard very briefly from the Addicts boss, Nathan Jones. Let's delve into that then. So, like I said, I just got a tweet from Clive, who does the pressers as well. We had him on the show a couple of years ago as well. He said he wished me a speedy recovery after getting my head bitten off, but I didn't come out of that thinking, oh, Nathan's fuming with me for any reason like that. I think he was fuming with himself. Like Elliot says, you can hear his raging his head off at himself. The word passive came up quite a lot, and he took full responsibility, Nathan. Obviously, I tried to ask him, can you just give us any more information on what we're talking about? Obviously, he doesn't want to, he doesn't have to. That's up to him, what he wants to say. It leaves us now thinking, right, we have to theorize what he was talking about. So, I've got a couple, maybe he's gone light on him in training this week because they've had a lot of games, bruising and counter up at Mansfield during the week. Maybe he's been a bit softer on them in training and done recovery days when they should be pushing. Maybe he was talking about, there's a couple of things that people have picked up on, which someone did say to me yesterday. I think Mark in our chat said, sounds like he maybe disagreed with Tyrese Campbell not being available. And if you listen to his interview with the club, he sort of spoke about him having a bit of cramp. Maybe he thinks he could have pushed that harder. He was fuming with himself, and obviously the way things panned out yesterday. Nathan, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I didn't take that as him having a go at you either. To be fair, you can tell that Nathan is full throttle. I don't know if anyone's seen the highlights on Sky Sports, but there's an occasion where he's literally punching his own head, and he, and I know he's a bit Marmite really, Nathan, but he cares a lot, and when we fall below those levels and we're at the business end of the season, and when you drop below those levels, he's going to be frustrated. And because we've made such good progress, we have high standards, and when you drop below them, and we are as passive as we were, because we were for the first hour, there's no doubt about that. He's obviously going to look internally as well as the players, like he does every single game. But from what I can take from that interview, when he's saying decisions that he's made, I can only think that maybe, as you suggested already, Lou, did he sort of give him an extra half a day off, or was the training a bit lighter than he usually would, or did he want to push him a little bit harder? But sports science have said, there's so many different facets that could happen. But to me, that would say that he's probably been a little bit lighter with him, because that performance, that first 60 minutes, it was casual, like the set play, casual. The second, their second goal, not aggressive enough, dilly-dallying, just not the aggressive way that he's used to, and he's just disappointed that we probably didn't have a big opportunity there to carry on the momentum to try and get the second. And there was still so many games left, so still a lot of things to play for. But from that, he's looking at himself, and you can't really fault him for it, as much as he may be crazy and intense, but he's got to look at himself as well as the players, and that's, I think, for me, that's fair enough.
Because you're in a really difficult situation now at the end of the season for a lot of reasons. I think if you look at our personal situation, we've been bigging up second because I think we could have done it, but with players missing, that makes it a little bit more difficult. So maybe you've got to try and decide when to take a risk between now and the end of the season. And if, again, we're reading too much into the comments about Tyrese Campbell. If there has been a suggestion, you've got to be very careful with him. But also Nathan's thinking, right, I mean, we have to win all our games to have a chance to get in second. But also we could win all of our games and not finish second. And you've taken chances there. And then Tyrese Campbell gets injured. And then we go into the playoffs where we're playing a game with no Tyrese Campbell. And we saw yesterday how much of a difficulty that can be for us. The club, not just Nathan, but the medical side and everyone has to have those conversations with themselves this week about how do we get that balance right? When do we push? Do we push now and try and get second, but then risk not getting second and then going into playoffs without players? Do we try and take that chance? And does Nathan feel like between them, all of them, and he's looked at himself and he's taken responsibility, which is his job, and he's done that well. And I think that was good from Nathan. You know, I think he's managed himself and the squad quite well, actually, over the last few months. But he's been disappointed with himself yesterday, Ben. Does he feel like he got that decision, or whichever decision he made, he got something wrong yesterday?
Yeah, I guess it's just not a manager making decisions anymore, isn't it? Like, as you just said, there's sports scientists, there's coaches, everyone in and around it. Maybe the player himself is just not feeling it as well in terms of him, like injuries and cramp and tiredness. And as you said there, we've got, obviously we're playing Saturday and then we're playing Friday, Monday. So then you've only got 2 days in between those games coming up. So do we rest players now? It's very hard because, I mean, you've seen how much Tyrese gets kicked about, and he did on Tuesday night at Mansfield. So, and I know he's been critical of referees not kind of protecting him a little bit more like that. So, yeah, I quite like the interview in terms of he just wears his heart on his sleeve, doesn't he? And it's just, I think, as well, you've caught him probably doing the Charlton TV interview with the club, then with yourself. He's probably really gone at the team after the game as well. It just sounded like he was exhausted as well. And I mean, as Nate said, when you're hitting yourself on the head during the game, well, you're just probably tired from that. But yeah, look, I was disappointed at the end of the game because I heard that in his interview as well. I just didn't think Lincoln were a great side. I mean, we were 2-0 down to a side that only had 4 shots on goal. And obviously, as we said, the second one was a good finish. The first one, it's obviously a corner or something they work on. So I think he's disappointed with that as well. And I came away yesterday going, oh, yeah, well, we just won 8 home games on the spin. Like, oh, come on, everyone. It's like, it would have been a bit much to make it 9 as well and 10. And we are going to slip up sometimes, especially when we're missing our best players. So afterwards, I just don't think I was too despondent. But I think that's the standards he's set now. He's set these standards with the side. It's just if we fall below that, and obviously in those first 60 minutes yesterday we did, he's just drumming it at home, thinking about him to himself. So that's great because shows how far we've come this season. But yeah, as I said, I just felt it was a real hard game to get your head around because I just thought we're losing to a side that aren't playing that great. The refs not helping us. But we had that half an hour at the end, which gave us a lot of confidence to come back from. But obviously, there's more to it with Jones, and that's great because it will stand us in good stead for the rest of the season. Because, as you said, I remember him saying that before in an interview. He said how he got the team selection wrong today, and I won't do that again. And then just moved on. And obviously, he's saying today, yeah, I got that wrong today, and I won't get it wrong again. That's just high standards he set himself and. Nothing wrong with the interview. I think it's great to have an honest interview like that.
Yeah, Paul says he was simmering off his nut rather than raging off his nut. Yeah, Nathan wasn't the best version of himself yesterday, or hell let loose. Mike said he sounded very frustrated at himself. Yeah, Paul saying, I like Jones taking responsibility. We've usually improved when he's had the hump after a game. And I mean, this is the one for me. I mean, you rewind your memory all the way back to that Reading game where he was raging off his nut at the start of the season, Nathan. And I think the debate we had after was he too much? So Stephen said, I'm worried that he sounds as down as he does. So I think as we've grown to know a bit more about Nathan in his time with the club now, over a year now, and even then, if you look back at last season, we didn't see as much of Nathan as expressing his emotions as we have this year, because last season, if you think about it, we were unbeaten for quite a long stretch under him last season. A lot of draws, a lot of, no ups or downs, really. It was quite weird to see him until the last day of the season at Wickham when we lost and he was raging. And I was surprised because it was a nothing game. remember being really surprised in that interview after the game how he was. But then at the start of this season, when we saw those emotions after Reading, I remember thinking myself, is he laying it on too thick? Is this too much for a manager to be like this? But I think that's just who he is, and you can't change him because he's been a manager for, well, it must be 10 years now. He's been managing clubs for a long time. This is Nathan Jones. This is what he does. This is who he is. You ain't going to get anything different from him now, and the success he's had with us so far, I don't think we need to worry about it as much as I was worried, Stephen, at the start of the season. I was worried after that Reading game, but I don't think we need to. I think this is what Nathan does.
Yeah, of course, I agree. As we've all said, Nathan's intense. He has a way. He's a big motivator, determined. He knows what he wants, cares deeply about this football club, and that's all we've ever wanted. We've had previous managers where we never had that. We didn't have that connection, and I know he can rub the people up the wrong way, but let's have it right. I mean, when we've done brilliantly, he's come out and praised them to the hilt. And then when we fall below those standards, naturally we are going to criticise them. We criticise them today, so he's going to do that. One thing I do know is that I'm pretty sure he'll be more vociferous in the dressing room than he was with you. So I think you got away with it lightly in terms of it was just a bit blunt, but I think the players would have got it, and that's what he wants to, because he knows they can do so much better. He sees them every single day in training, doesn't he? So he knows that when they fall below that level, it's just like, lads, come on. You've got 5-6 games left. Let's not drop our standards. We've worked so hard since Christmas to get where we are. Like, just don't let the ball slip. So yeah, I mean, I get it, but I don't think he's laying it on too thick. I think when it becomes personal, like we've had with previous managers out in players, I think that's when it draws the line. But I think at the end of the day, he's just saying what we're all thinking, in my opinion, anyway. Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lay it too thick on the players because, as Benji said, they've done brilliantly to get back from 2-0 down. Like in previous years, I never would have expected that. So, but they got to take the criticism and the praise as well. It comes hand in hand. It comes with the job.
Yeah, I mean, Dean, this is a good point. The last thing I would want after a bad day at the office is people putting a mic in my face, asking me questions. I thought Jones was polite, and I think that there's been maybe 2 or 3 interviews this season where it has been like, I could tell from question 1, this ain't going to be a long interview, like Rotherham away. Like, again, if when it was Crawley at home and we were in a bad run, there's no, even if he wanted a short interview, it's not going to be a short one because there's lots of questions to be asked. When we're putting in for 3 months title winning form and we have a blip and we lose a game or we draw a game and Nathan don't want to talk, it's a short interview and that's that. It's done. If we go and lose every game between now and the end of the season, then it'll be a longer interview. But sometimes that's just where it's going to be. I think yesterday, the team selection itself. So I asked Nathan if he was being, when he spoke about being passive, was he talking about his team selection? I've lost the quote now, but Shiny Phil was sort of talking about, he obviously thought he'd play it safe rather than take attacking risks and blames himself for our failure in the first 60. How can you not love a manager like that? Do you think that's part of it as well? I mean, so if TC is not available either way, is there a different person he could have put in place of maybe Anderson to have been braver at home, Ben?
I don't know if there was. I mean, as we just said about Dixon, we know Aniki can't start games. And then if you start Aniki, then you won't get the press. Hadmi, I mean, he's got no confidence at all. Is that part of his game? Probably not up there with Godden. I mean, you're looking at Gilbert. I don't think he trusts Gilbert, really. I mean, lately we've barely seen him. And I mean, he left it to the 90th minute yesterday to bring him on. I know he was close to bringing him on and then we scored. So, yeah, you look around and as I said earlier, I think Kanu would have been the instant replacement if he was fit. But then we've seen pictures of him this week with a boot on his leg. So it doesn't look like he's going to be fit anytime soon. So I guess that's what maybe he's been questioning what to do in his head this week leading up to the game. Maybe he thinks, maybe I took it too safe playing with Karoy. But I also don't know who else you would have started in that position. Maybe I think he did the right thing bringing Chooks on when he come on. And I know he's not full of confidence at the moment and he beats himself up when he misses a chance. But he causes mayhem when he's there because 2 defenders have to go around him and he's got quick feet and he's a bit of a nuisance. But then you also have to change the game because you can't buoy up to him and expect him to flick headers on. That's just not part of his game. it's nice to hear him frustrated because, as I said, I came away thinking, okay, that wasn't too bad, but obviously there's a lot more in-house decisions to make. But in terms of that starting 11, I'm not sure what else he actually could have done. I'd maybe play Karoy in a different role, but I don't think there's anyone else that could have played yesterday to started to make it different. And that's just lack of numbers and lack of players to come in. But as I said, as well with Mitchell coming on, he might have got that a bit wrong, but because obviously he's not had minutes himself. But yeah, it's difficult when we haven't got like for like replacements.
Yeah, and that obviously does pose a question. When you look back at January now, I think because we've been on such a good run, there hasn't been a great deal of scrutiny about what happened in January. There was only a couple of signings, but because it's gone so well with no lack of injuries, has been a big bonus for us, and there hasn't really been a massive talking point. But yeah, I mean, maybe I can't remember if we tried to get someone who might have been a similar build to sort of TC or style of player that could have been useful yesterday, but it didn't happen, and that's obviously come back to bite us a little bit on the bum yesterday. A couple of people saying I don't think there was anyone really who could come in for TC, and that's a problem, isn't it? There's no James says maybe Gilbert, but that's it. But not the same. I don't think he is the same type of player really. Like maybe got the ability to be a little bit creative, but we haven't seen much of it yet because he hasn't had many minutes. But yeah, not to be the case yesterday. Sue says we overthink Nathan's interviews. He is who he is. Nathan has a high standards and expectations of himself and everyone around him. He'll be disappointed, but he'll use that to learn and improve. And that's the thing. Like he's clearly disappointed in himself yesterday, and clearly he'll try and take something from yesterday. But as people have mentioned, I think because yesterday, I think if we're being realistic, top two has gone now, and that was the result that sealed it in terms of on the day. Obviously, the reason it's gone is because of what happened for large spells of the early part of the season. But it was a big disappointment yesterday. I felt disappointed after yesterday's game. We had an email from Jay Baker says everything was set up. The weather was brilliant. The supporters were singing their head off. It was a game that we should have won, and yet we saw a Charlton team that were all over the place, slow to act, slow to think. That team should have been raring to go. Instead, we got a bit of a damp squib. Unbelievable. He said we've blown it yesterday. Elliot says as soon as I saw a lineup yesterday, particularly up top, I was apprehensive. I feel like Karoy is going to get a lot of stick after watching him take up the left wing position and making those darting number 9 runs through the centre of the pitch. It was clear to me that Nathan had asked him to do a job, one that he hasn't really done all season and one he clearly wasn't comfortable with. I think that explains Jones's interview where he stated, I take full responsibility for today. We struggled without TC and only had Thierry as our pacey outlet, again, highlighting how well Tyrese has done for us this season, even on a low assist and goal count. It's mental to think that I walked out of the stadium frustrated with only a point. It shows how far we have come from last season. And finally, McSquared said, with our 2 best players missing, there are bound to be repercussions, and indeed there were. Only 1 shot on target in the first half. Poor marking for Lincoln's goal. Saying that there's no way that Nathan could have envisaged Karoy and McIntyre having such poor games. Karoy was awful and deserved to get yanked off at half-time. McIntyre, non-existent challenge leading to second goal. Was embarrassing. All Nathan could do in that situation was ring the changes and hope for the best. Fortunately, the substitutions worked. Chuck's made a big difference. Unlucky not to get a couple of goals. However, he did enough to unsettle Lincoln's defence. Unfortunately, time ran out, though. At least we managed to extend our home unbeaten record to 13 games. It says at least inevitable that a few of our promotion rivals would take advantage of our slip-up, but it's all still to play for. Let's hope that Tyrese Campbell is back next week. Right, let's hear from the man who scored Charlton's second goal yesterday. The skipper didn't get his goal against Huddersfield last week, but he did get one yesterday. This is what he had to say after the 2-2 draw with Lincoln. Greg, it's a 2-2 draw with Lincoln. How do you sum up your feelings after that?
Mixed, I think, is the best way to do it. Proud of, the group from coming back from the 2-0 down. First half wasn't us. Credit to Lincoln, they played the conditions probably better than us. It was a bit sticky, hot, but we allowed that to happen. And that wasn't us, considering the start we had at home last week. We wanted to build on that, but sometimes you can't always go your way. Teams pose you different challenges. We got in a half time. We talked about raising the tempo. Obviously, made a sub at, and again they scored a bit of quality. Fair play to them. But the positive thing for me was the reaction from the whole stadium and the the boys on the pitch after that goal to not let our heads drop. And again, subs came on, had a good impact, and that's what the manager talks about all the time, is the squad game.
Yeah, I think that sort of last half an hour in the stadium and on the pitch obviously showed what the last few months have been about at this club now. There's been an uplift. Yeah,
incredible, and honestly, don't take it lightly when I say this. The fact that they helped, like the belief in when that goal went in, there was a noise from our crowd, never mind Lincoln's crowd, and that tells you that like they're behind us, and again shooting into that end, it really does make a difference for us. We get a goal, great finish from Maka, and obviously after that it turns, and you can see the Lincoln players, and you know, I've been in that position myself. It's difficult, and they're defending for their lives, and you know, they dug in, they got their point, but I think their goalkeepers pulled off some wonderful saves. Sometimes you give them a bit of credit, but yeah, look, to come back from the position we're in, every team's going to pose different challenges. 5 games left, it was never going to be easy. Obviously 6 from today, but you know, you can't always have it your way. But it's just how finding a way to get something, and we will take that as a point gain today. Nathan seemed really disappointed when he came in. He was talking about he felt the side was a bit passive maybe in that opening hour. What do you think that sort of meant to you? Yeah, I think it just means, you know, considering the start we had last week against Huddersfield, and you know, that we really set the tone out, and we never did that today. And that's the disappointing thing. You know, we allowed Lincoln to maybe, you know, use their tactics, get a foothold in the game. Credit to them, they were good at it. They're a physical side, but they won. They landed on second balls and things like that, and you know, we couldn't really get a rhythm going again. So. But it's about finding different ways, and I think as a captain, you know, I'm proud to look around the 11 that when the second goal went in, no one dropped their head, and it was a case of how we're going to go and get back in this game, and we did it. We found a way. First goal a bit scrappy, and then second goal obviously we again come from good territory, and like I touched on, the goalkeepers pulled off some fantastic saves. So sometimes you got to give players credit. I'm pleased with your strike from the edge of the box there. Yeah, obviously didn't get the one last week, so it was nice to get one this week. So yeah, it's something that I've not added enough of this year, so you know, I'm trying to get an impetus on that towards the end of the season, see what I can get, and if it can help the team, then you know, that's where the manager wants me to be, and that's what I want to be, picking up in those areas in around the box, and I was really glad to see it at the back of the net. Yeah, obviously with results elsewhere today, and what happened to China, it makes top 2 a lot more difficult, but I guess you got to keep plugging away until you know whether it's possible or not. Yeah, of course. Considering, again, for 25 games ago or something from where we were, you know, you'd bit your hand off for this position, and when we came in at the start of the season, the players, we talked about, you know, being in the hunt coming into the season, and being in the hunt for, obviously Birmingham sort of kind of ran away with it, but second and third, there's more than one way to go up. So, you know, whatever happens, we'll keep on going. 5 games to go, lots of twists and turns. We stay in our lane. We have done this whole time, and I think if you think 9 home games, 8 wins and a draw, like you can't knock that, and I don't think anyone wants to play us. So, you know, we knew we weren't at the levels today for 60 minutes, but the last 30 we showed, you know, like we've got a bit of resilience about us, a bit of character, and again, let's say the whole club, the fans helped us to get those 2 goals back today massively.
There you go. That's Greg Docherty having a chat with myself on the score sheet yesterday, which he wasn't last week, Nate, which he was unlucky not to be. What have you made of his, not just his performances, but his captaincy over this season? So I think there were times earlier on in the campaign where people were sort of saying, you know, maybe Lloyd should have been captain with the way it was going, actually. But I feel like he's grown into both roles, as in the midfielder and the captain. The way he sort of seems like, I always thought he's carried himself well in interviews, but on the pitch he seems to be a bit more vocal now. I don't know if I've imagined that, but he certainly seems to try and G the side up when he needs to.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit tricky at the beginning because we obviously weren't playing particularly well consistently, and then he was dropped for a game, wasn't he? And it was like, well, how can you drop your captain? How can you keep your captain out every week? And I think in line with the form, really, I think he's been brilliant. And as you say, he's become a leader on the pitch. He's very, very vocal. I get why people would say Lloyd to be captain, because he's another influential player in our team. But for me, I think Greg's obviously played at a higher level, played in big games and big clubs. So I don't think there's any doubt from my mind anyway that Greg should be captain. But yeah, I think he's definitely come on leaps and bounds. I don't know if that's just because he's got used to how we're playing, or it's just coincidental that it's in this run of form. But yeah, since Christmas, I've been very impressed with him, and I think that little pivot with him and Connor is very, very good, especially at this level for sure. So yeah, really happy for Greg, and I think he has to come out and be positive. He can't sit there and just slate his teammates in an interview, but You can imagine him being around the dressing room, making sure people don't get too low, keeping all the young ones grounded. So yeah, I think he's doing great as a captain.
Yeah, and I guess, we will never go in that dressing room, so we don't really know what Nathan Jones is like behind closed doors. But I guess he could be a little bit. You could imagine he might have been a little bit bad cop after the game yesterday, Ben. So obviously Greg then has to be a little bit of good cop, along with obviously Curtis Fleming, Stephen Henderson, the coaching staff. That they have to manage the spirit of the group, and obviously Nathan will play his part in that. But that's actually quite a big role for a captain, especially like I say when you're a side that's had a bad game but overall's had a good season. That's quite an interesting balance. You have to try and tread the line sort of after a game like yesterday.
Yeah, and as he mentioned in that interview, credit to the players for their heads not dropping too much when they then took the lead 4 minutes into the second half. And as he said, I think the crowd played a massive part yesterday. It was a lot busy yesterday, but they didn't stop singing. And when Gillespie scored to make it 2-1, the felt like the roof was going to come off. Everyone was really behind him again. And the ground was bouncing because of previous performances. And I think their players wilted a bit under that pressure, to be honest. A few miscued clearances from them, booting the ball into the stand. And I know, as I said earlier, I think it upset our rhythm with the time wasting and the referee flipping, dragging out the game and wanting to talk to everyone all the time. But yeah, as Nath just said, I think as a captain, you see little bits during the game of him trying to get the crowd going and rallying the crowd, but there's stuff that goes unnoticed, isn't it? Like on the training ground and afterwards in the dressing room. And I think, it seems like he's got a lot of respect around the side. As Nath said, he's played for big teams in the English football at Hull and Rangers in Scotland and Hibs and that. So he's got the experience, and it's like keep grounded. Don't get too carried away. I know Nathan would have been annoyed yesterday, and rightly so, but then you have to balance it out. And I think, he's done a good job of that. And obviously getting the equaliser yesterday and rallying the troops to come back yesterday. So I don't think people could blame him for saying he's not a captain material anymore. I think he's really grown into the role.
Right. A lot of people then say we're looking at the table, where we're going to finish. I think top two's gone. I think that's fair to say. It'd take a bit of a miracle now, so that's fine. That's gone. We're down to fifth now, which is my bigger concern, because I'm desperate to finish third or fourth. So we're a point behind Stockport, having played the same amount of games. We're 2 points behind Wycombe, who obviously lost yesterday. Wycombe have a game in hand on Tuesday. I mean, that second leg at the Valley is what I'm desperate to achieve now, Nathan. You're looking at that table. We've sort of gone through other fixtures. How important is that? Not just for the fact we'll get that home leg as well, but also because in order to achieve that, it shows that we would have had a good run to the end of the season as well, to take some of that momentum into the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same. You want that second leg at home, because it just changes the whole dynamic of the first leg. So the first leg, you don't have to go too gung-ho. You can sort of try and be a little bit more cautious, as it were. I know obviously Nathan will always set us up to win for sure, but you're probably not going to be play as risky as you would as home. Whereas when you're playing at home first, you're going to have to take an advantage back to the away leg in the second leg. So it's a lot more difficult in my eyes. So yeah, I agree, the third or fourth. I'm still saying, as I've said for weeks, that I don't want Bolton at all in that top six anywhere. I don't want them anywhere. I know they are at the moment, but I don't want them anywhere near it. So I mean, yeah, we've still got 5 games to play. You've got Stockport. I know they won yesterday. They're above us now, but we're going into Easter. We got a game on the Friday and the Monday. There's still going to be twists and turns. I'm not saying that we're going to get second by any stretch, but there will be twists and turns, whether it's with us, Stockport. Remember, Wycombe have got to play more or less everyone in the top 6, I think, or at least 4 teams in and around it in the top 10. So there's going to be a lot of teams having their say in the final bit, and all we can do, I know it's boring, but we just got to win our next game, because all these predictors, I know we have fun and do all these predictions of the scores, but yesterday you wouldn't have predicted that yesterday, so it just makes it a bit, I know it's the boring thing to say, but we just got to do the next one, mate, because as we've already seen, things can change. Wrexham get dodgy penalties every week, it seems, so maybe we do write that second off, because it seems like a load of people like Wrexham.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Lovely stuff. Right, we shall leave it there. Just want to say again, well done to everyone involved with the Upbeats. Well, yesterday was a fantastic day. The Upbeats then beat their Lincoln City counterparts on the pitch before the game. It's just a wonderful sort of morning doing the walk. We really enjoyed it. Always great to speak to our fellow Charlton fans as well, which was much fun. Good luck to Tracy and Charlotte who are doing their half marathon as well today. And Charlotte did the Upbeats walk yesterday as well, so she must be knackered. But good luck to both of those. Massive thanks to everyone who's joined us on the show this morning in the live chat. Really enjoyed your company. Don't forget, check out the merch store, charltonlive.ac.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Really, I think we're close to 2,000 subscriptions now, which would be great if we can get that before the end of the day. Nathan and Ben, been an absolute pleasure as always.
Much love. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, chaps.
Lovely stuff. So we'll be back on Thursday where we'll look ahead to next Saturday's trip to Cambridge. But for now, this has been Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel. My name is Louis Mendez. Thanks for your time. We'll see you again on Thursday.
PSF Steel Limited is a trade...
That's right.
Charlton Live.